Eddie the Magic Monk. Eddie the Magic Monk. Eddie the Magic Monk. Eddie the Magic Monk.
Hey guys, it's Eddie the Magic Monk. Every lesson we're going to go through a couple of new features in Python to help you become more familiar with the language. And so far we've built a greedy pig game, or sort of just the start of it. And using the game, I'm going to explain some new features. So make sure you go back to our previous tutorials if you haven't done it, if you haven't got the greedy pig game working. But what we're going to do now is talk about what a function is. So a function is like a mini program within your program. And a function can take some input and give you some output. So that's the goal today, is we're just going to create a very simple function. We're going to take an input, do something to it, and give you an output. So we're going to put the function just underneath the import statement. Okay, because usually functions are defined before the rest of the program. Okay, so I'm going to define a new function. DEF stands for define. And I'm going to call it roll dice. So this is a function that is going to be used to roll the dice. And a function usually has a return statement. So what a function does is it takes some input. So the input is in the bracket and the output is in the return. So what is the input and what is the output? Well, we know what the output's going to be, because the whole point of rolling a dice is it's going to give us a random number between 1 and 6. So let's copy that, put it here. Okay. It's going to give us a random number between 1 and 6. So instead of putting that code in, I can simply now just put this code, roll dice, because that's what this statement means. Okay, so roll dice is going to do this for us. So I can now paste that here. And then I can do the same thing here. So I've simplified it. All right, so that's the whole point of our functions, is to try and simplify our program. So the roll dice function will return this number, which will give us a number between 1 and 6. Now, if you run this program, it's not going to do anything different. Okay, because we have simply just created a function that does something that the program was already doing. Okay, but later on, obviously, you can make more complicated functions. But right now, we just need you to understand it. So that is the output part of the function. What is the input into the function? The input into the function is stated over here. Right now, this function doesn't require any input. But let's say that in this game, it's possible that we might have a dice that has more than 6 sides. Let's say that we're going to roll a 7 or 8 or 9-sided die. Okay, so then we can put in a function here called x, an input here into the function called x, and then we can return the random number between 1 and x. So what that means is now this function requires an input in the bracket. So in the bracket, I then now have to put the number 6 in, because now it's going to give us a random number between 1 and x. In this case, x is 6, and in this case, x is 6. So let's run the code. You can see it hasn't changed at all. But for example, let's say I want to run, I want to roll the dice between 1 and 12, a 12-sided die. Not sure if these exist, but you can see it turns into a very different game. Now you get a random number between 1 and 12. Okay, so I'll just change it back to 6. Okay, so hopefully from this lesson, you understand what a function is. It takes some input and it gives you an output. Now, just to show you that a function can have more than one line of code. So rather than returning this number straight away, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another variable called y, and I'm going to make y equal this random number between 1 and x. And then I'm also going to return y. Okay, so what this means is I've made an extra line there, and you're going to see why in a second. And I'm just going to check that the program is still working. So it's still working. But the reason why I have made it an extra line is because now I can print out y. Okay, I can print the number y as part of this function. So in the program, whenever I have print, I don't need to mention that anymore. Okay, I can get rid of the print. And then same thing here, I can get rid of the print. So I'm reducing the number of lines in my code. All right, and let's move this total a bit higher as well. Okay, just to tidy it up a little bit. Okay, so this is our code as it stands. It's got no new functionality in the game, but hopefully today you learned about input and output of functions. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.